All right, so we are minimizing perimeter. Consider all the rectangles with an area of 182. So here's a rectangle, and the area is 182 square feet. Let X be the length of one side. Express the perimeter of the rectangle. Okay? What are your thoughts? What? So I'm going to add up all the sides. The problem is, I know that's X and this then would be X, but I don't know what these are. Okay? So any thoughts on that? Okay, you know the area is 182.
X minus 182.
No. No, guys, stop. How do you find area? Length times width. So if I call this y for just a moment, doesn't x times y have to be 182?
Yeah.
So what's y? I'm not going to be using different variables. Y would be 182 over x. So this dimension right here is 182 over x, because remember, length times width has to be 182. So doesn't that work out? So now I'm going to add up both sides, because my job was to write an equation for the perimeter. So I'm going to add up all the sides. So I have two x's, and I have two of those. Would you agree? So my perimeter equals 2x plus 364 over x. Watch my arithmetic, is that right? So the direction said express the perimeter as a function of x. Done. That means write the equation of the perimeter with only x's. That's why I couldn't keep y's. I had to have just x's. There it is. Find the dimensions of the rectangle that has the least perimeter. Okay, what does least perimeter mean? Smallest. Minimum. So let's get our calculator out. Let's draw a picture of this equation and see if we can find a low point. So we're going to go to y equals 2x plus 364 divided by x. And hit graph, and actually, luckily, somehow, magically, my window doesn't look too bad. Are you playing around with it? Because what are you looking for? You're looking for a low point. So you are going to see some kind of shape that it's not a parabola. It's more like a Nike swoosh. And you're looking for the low point. So the window that I used, my x's were 0 to 40 and my y's were 0 to 200. There is nothing perfect about that window. But when I hit graph, I saw a shape, and clearly there was a low point on that shape. So I'm going to find that minimum, so second calc minimum. And looks like that minimum happens at 13.491, comma 53.963. I'll wait a second. Did anyone else get that minimum? All right, so first of all, we built the equation together, and then we recognized we needed a minimum. This wasn't a parabola, so I had to graph it on my calculator to get the low point. I played around with my window until I got the low point. Now, this problem should have no negatives in it anywhere. How's come? No negatives. X stands for a side of the triangle, a rectangle, I mean. It can't be negative. What does Y stand for? Y stands for perimeter. It can't be negative. So if you are messing with your window and you're doing negative 200, no. Gotta be 0 or bigger in this problem. Okay? Now, interpret the result. Remember, what was X? X was the width. So the question said, here's my question, find the dimensions. All right, so X is 13.491.
Would you ever access to like
feet. This is not the other dimension. What is that?
over the short?
That is the actual perimeter, isn't it? Question don't want to know the perimeter. They want to know the other dimension. So how will I find the other dimension? 182 divided by that.
13.4. Isn't it wants to know the least perimeter too? Isn't that the least perimeter?
Yeah, so I'm not to that question yet, but yes, you're right. That is the perimeter. So that does not answer the dimension question. The dimension question is 13.491 times what, by what? What's 182 divided by that? 182 divided by 13.491. 13.491 basically. It actually came out to be O, but that's because round off error. The smallest perimeter is going to be a square. It's going to be a square. And this is the smallest perimeter. Okay? That would be, smallest perimeter is 56 or 53.63 feet. Okay? All right, that homework's due Wednesday. 2.8. Here we go, inequalities. So I've got some function. And I want to know where it's positive, 0, and negative. I'm going to look at my handy dandy number line for a second. Could you tell me where this thing would actually equal 0? Where would it actually equal 0? Negative 3. Watch it, that's x squared. No.
Oh, square root of 1. Next square in there.
Square root of negative 1, which is
I
I. So nowhere, right? Nowhere. I'm not going to have any dots on a number line that are I. So that one has no zeros. And this one would be at 4. So at negative 3 and 4, we are 0. that's where this polynomial equals 0. This factor right here, does everyone understand that that factor right there cannot equal 0 in real number land? Right? Because if you subtract 1 and take the square root, you'll be imaginary. Okay, so this is where I'm 0. Now I'm going to figure out where I'm negative or positive. So all we're going to do is pick a number right here. What's the number over here? Not 6.
Negative 4.
Negative 4.
Negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, any of those would be okay, right? So if I put negative 4 into my problem, what happens? I get a negative 1, I get a 17, and I get a 64, negative 8 squared. Is that right there going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
So this section of the number line is going to be negative.
Is that going to be positive?
I don't know, we're gonna find out. What's the number in here?
2.
2. 0. I like 0, but I use 2 because I said that first. Any number in there is fine. 2 gives me 5, 5, and 1. Positive or negative in here?
Positive.
Positive. How about 5? 8, 26, and 1. Positive again? So where am I positive? I'm positive from negative 3 to 4,
And then 4 to infinity.
and then 4 to infinity. Where am I negative?
Negative 3.
Negative infinity to negative 3. That question is easy. We just have to figure out where the dots on the number line go, and they go with the zeros, what makes it 0, and then check each section and see what happens.
Are they always open for circles?
They're open because this talks about being 0. Where they equal 0, I'll close them in, but I'm not positive has to be this section less than that number, so that's why they're open. The next one, they'll be closed because they actually gave me a symbol. So the next one says, I am solving this. So start with the zeros. Where are the zeros? Sam, what are you doing, honey?
Huh?
What are you doing?
Oh, my bad.
Right now we're graphing, or we're solving inequalities. This is fun.
It is fun.
This is really fun.
It is fun.
So where are the zeros? There's gonna be 3 of them. Where are they gonna be?
Negative 7.
Negative 7.
Negative 7.
Negative 4.
Negative
6.
4. And
Hold it.
when you put your zeros on the number line, make sure they're in the right order. That's the number line. So they have to go in the number line order. This time, those will all be closed in because the symbol in the problem is
Greater than that.
or equal to.
Less than or equal to.
Or equal to. Alright, so now, quietly, I want you, and you can do it with your partner, we're gonna pick a number here, and here, and here, and here. And this time, we are only looking for the ones that are less than 0, so negative. All right, so see if you can find the negative sections.
Negative 8. No, if you have 3 negative signs, do it negative. No, Nathan, no.
Okay, 3 negatives will absolutely be a negative, but this will never be a negative because it's squared. So you can't have 3 negatives. Yeah, you can't have 3 negatives. When you square something, you can have 2. You can't have 3 because you're squaring that one parentheses. All right, what are you coming up with?
How's it going? Yeah. It's just like
Any versus for any.
what's his name?
All right, how many of you got this as your answer? That was the only section of the number line. When I plugged in a number, I got a negative. Now, there is one more thing I need to add here though. Remember, your answer is everything you colored in. So, in addition to the interval, we also have x equals 6. Because didn't we color in that dot? And your answer is going to be everything you colored. Okay? That will trick you if you're not careful. So remember, if you colored it in, it goes in the answer line. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. What's going on with the next one here?
Got a factor it.
Got a factor it. Any thoughts on that? All right, so x squared minus 1. Is that okay with grouping, everybody? Remember, when you group, you must get a common parentheses, and we did. And then we got the difference of squares.
Wait,
Yep, Jake?
why can't you do the difference of squares on the, oh, wait, no, because it's negative, I was talking about the first one, but it's
No,
the last
you're
one,
good.
not
No,
the
you're good.
sorry about that.
You're good.
Okay. All right, you okay? So then I'm gonna draw a number line, and there's gonna be 3 open dots on the number line. They're open this time,
4, negative 1, 1.
and they'll be at -1, 1, and 4 in that order.
You don't talk like that.
And then I'm gonna start picking. So go ahead, start picking.
You dig it.
Here, 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 and here. Let's go.
Negative 2.
Start picking.
Negative 3. Negative 1.
This time we're looking for positive, positive, positive.
Oh yeah, wait, it's real positive.
Ow.
You know what I mean?
Oh, here we go.
You pick one number for each.
No, negative 1. Negative 1. Wait, that might work. That might work.
Couple ways you can actually shorten your work if you want. Remember, you don't actually care what the value, like if you say I'm gonna plug in -2, we don't actually care what the number is. We only care whether it's positive or negative. So I don't even mess with the numbers, I just use the signs. Up to you, it doesn't matter. And then the other way we can shorten our work is if we chapter P. If your problem is normal, this is not a normal problem because you had a square, and that messes everything up. But if your problem is normal, and this one is normal, then your shading will always alternate. So the minute I did this one, I knew I was going to shade, not yes. So you can do that. You can always do that alternating trick. You don't have to plug into these other sections unless you have a squared on a parentheses. As soon as you put a squared on a parentheses, you have to check every region. Do you understand that? All right, so that can save you time. All right, number 4. Here we go. We gotta get it done, and it's a big. Number 4.
Do you group this or no?
Big S says, well, it looks just like the one we just did. And we grouped that one. Will that group?
I don't know.
No, why not?
The boy done like a
7 is a big one.
You're not going to get a common parentheses, right? Okay. Shoot. What do we do? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We only use quadratic formula. We have a quadratic. Guys, stop. This is an x cubed.
That's a key
No,
that you're
quadratic. So what do we do? Synthetic division. Caitlin's back there saying synthetic division. Listen, I need you guys to be quiet. We need to finish this problem. And you're getting a little out of control. So, you don't have to list the PRRs, but remember, they are your possibilities. So it's a good idea to at least get them in your head. Boy, there's a lot of them, right? All the factors of 24. Over the factors of 2. There's a ton there, just pick one. What do you think? 3? You can do 24. I'm not going to do 24. Oh, shoot. Did I make a mistake? No, okay.
Try 2.
So, try what? 2? Why not? I know, that's what you gotta do. -2.
You could have something here.
That's not it.
Oh wow! Man, you're nailing today, Miss Moore.
I didn't pick it. Somebody
I
else
picked
picked
it.
it.
I did. I wrote it. I picked one.
Okay, now, what does that mean? That means that one of the dots on my number line is going to be at -2. This number gave me 0, so it's a 0. It's on the number line. I also know that one of my factors is x plus 2. Now, if I like, I can use the quadratic formula. Okay then? Now I can use the quadratic formula. Or I can factor.
Or how did that
You guys
factor?
never let me out of
Oh.
Before you ask me how it factors,
Alright, Johnny.
oil it out.
That's what I did on the quiz today to make sure,
And when I oiled it out, so now I know I have a dot at 3 halves, and I have a dot at 4. Notice my factors are not squared, right? I have 3 separate factors. So I'm gonna check one number and then use my shortcut to alternate. So, I don't know, -3. -3 would be negative, negative, negative. That does not work, because I need positive. So if this doesn't work, then this will, that won't, and this will. So my answer is -2 to 3 halves, or 4 to infinity. Look at the next problem. It says solve with calculator. So we gotta make sure tomorrow we have a calculator. And hopefully we'll finish this off tomorrow.
I got a
short calculator.
Do people ever get these?
odds are passing like that.
You fixed the calculator.